So from last week's episode, we get that Cole's #1 goal in life is to stop anyone from finding the cure and thereby waking Silas. So he does not want this to happen, and he's pretty much willing to do anything he can to stop that. So his first stop on this crazy train is to go see Bonnie. And basically he decides he's gonna kill her, because I think his thought is, if I kill Bonnie, then they won't have their witch, they won't be able to open the tomb, and everything will be fine. But what Cole doesn't realize is that Bonnie is now a level 10 witch goddess. And so when he comes to try to kill her, she backs that down pretty easily. I mean, he starts off going for the neck, and then the next thing you know, he's on his knees in pain. So Bonnie is definitely in a whole nother level of witchy goodness at this point. And let's talk about her for a second, because you get that she's got all this new power, but she is barely hanging on to control of it. You know, it's really kind of controlling her to some degree. During this episode, Bonnie's mother actually shows back up, and her parents try to have kind of a witchy intervention. When they try to drug her though, it just doesn't work because she is too strong. And so she's really easily able to kind of just be let me do what I want, this is my life kind of thing. Now remember too from last week, Elena has kind of set this plan in motion because she wants Jeremy to kill Cole. Because the plan is, look, if you kill Cole, because he is an original vampire, when you kill him, you kill all of the vampires in his vampire line and all of the vampires that they've made. So that should be more than enough vampires to complete your hunter's mark. So Elena calls Cole to try to kind of get him to agree to a truce. And she tells him, look, we'll stop looking for the cure if you stop trying to kill my brother. Let's come together on this, right? But Cole is really close to their house, so he's well, I'm gonna come over. And he shows up at the door. He's never been invited in, right? But he's let me in, and that'll be kind of a sign of good faith. And these two idiots actually invite him in. I was just I was yelling at the TV screen at this point, because I was just do not invite him in. What are you doing? What if you don't kill him? Then you've just given him an open invitation to come in anytime he wants. So Cole comes in, and Elena makes Jeremy leave, and she and Cole kind of chat a little bit. In the end, he ends up telling her more about Silas, and it's just kind of building the fear of this guy. So they talk a little bit, but then in the end, Cole just ends up leaving, and he tells Elena, look, I'll consider your proposal for a truce. So Elena does share her plan to kill Cole with Stefan, and Stefan is just kind of look, if we do that, Klaus and Rebekah will kill us all. So Elena's plan is for Stefan to dagger Rebekah, and then Bonnie will deal with Klaus. That's the plan. So Stefan basically spends the whole episode with Rebekah. The school dance gets canceled, and you can tell she's really disappointed, but he tells her we're gonna go anyway. And they kind of spend the whole episode kind of getting to know each other. He is distracting her though, while Matt kind of goes through her house and looks for the dagger so that they can dagger her. But in the end, Stefan decides not to do it. I think because, you know, after getting to know Rebekah more, he feels guilty about the times that he has betrayed her in the past, because obviously he has. I think also he just starts to trust her a little bit and starts to think maybe these things that she says, you know, these dreams that she has of being human and having babies and being married, maybe those things are real, and why are her dreams any less than mine are? And so he doesn't dagger her. And that will, you know, cause a little tension and problems later in the episode, of course. So let's talk about Damon and Klaus in this episode, because there was lots of villain bonding time. So of course Damon's locked in the basement because he's been compelled to kill Jeremy, and Klaus is there to kind of watch over him. And as the two are chatting, you know, all of a sudden Klaus starts to get really interested in Damon's relationship with Elena. And at one point he asks him, you know, how is it that Elena is able to overlook all of the horrible stuff that you've done? How does that happen? It's not just the sire bond. Tell me what you say to her. What have you said to her that has kind of made her forgive you? And you totally get that Klaus is thinking about Caroline, and that in some kind of way, he's kind of asking Damon for advice. And Damon's smart, so he picks up on that. So Damon kind of tells him, look, if I'm bad, I'm bad with a purpose. I have a reason for that. When you're bad, you just do it to be bad, which makes your actions, less forgiving. So he doesn't really give him much hope. Klaus also tries to kind of poke at Damon by reminding him again that he wasn't able to overcome compulsion for love the way that Stefan had been able to do for Elena. And I think he's just really trying to make Damon doubt himself, because what he's insinuating is that your love for Elena is not as real as the love that Stefan had for her. So, now back to Cole, right, who has decided that, screw it, there's not going to be any truce, I'm just going to go ahead and kill Jeremy. So, of course now, because these idiots have invited him into the house, he bursts in, there's a huge fight, But thanks to some great Gilbert teamwork, in the end they're able to overpower him. Now let's talk about Cole for a second, right? Because this idiot is walking around with the white oak stake in his jacket pocket. I mean, it was just kind of like, come on, man, come on. So when Elena and Jeremy corner him, Elena grabs the stake, throws it to Jeremy, and Jeremy kills Cole. I mean, he actually does it. So Cole starts to burn as the two kind of stand back and look like in horror. And then Jeremy looks over Elena's shoulder and she turns around and there in the open doorway is Klaus. And he has basically just watched the two of them kill his brother. I mean, like, they did a close-up on his face, and it was like you saw tears of, like, sadness for his brother, but then you just saw rage. Like, you just instantly knew, like, you guys are, like, screwed, because Klaus is going to kill you. He is not going to stop until you have paid for killing his brother. So thankfully Bonnie shows up at this moment, and like I said, she's so powerful, she's able to get past Klaus, get into the house, and then she tells them, invite him in. And so they invite him in, and Bonnie traps him. Like, she uses her new powers, she uses the power of the moon, and she traps him in the Gilbert living room. And then in the end, she tells them, look, you've got 3 days. He'll be trapped here for 3 days, and then after that, he's gonna be free, and then of course he's probably coming to kill you because you killed his brother. Now the last scene is all of them going back to the Salvatore house because they're waiting for Jeremy's mark to grow. Because if you remember, the last time they killed an original, it took a little bit for that to kind of have an effect. And while they're waiting, Stefan shows up. He tells them, look, I didn't dagger Rebekah. And Elena, like, loses it a little bit. And it's just like, why do you think you can trust her? And while she was less annoying in this episode, Elena was, she's still just like, anytime she talks to Stefan, I just want to be like, don't you question him, woman. But, you know, she's right to say, look, why would you think that you can trust her? And then, of course, Damon drops the bomb because he's an ass. And he tells them that Stefan slept with Rebekah, right? Which was so petty. Petty, petty, petty. Because you knew that, I mean, the real purpose of that was for Elena to hear it. For Elena to know that her precious Stefan had moved on. And, yeah, it was just a petty move. Very petty. And then Damon and Stefan, I mean, like, they look like they're about to get into it. Like, it's about to go down. When all of a sudden, Jeremy starts screaming, and everyone turns toward him, and he bursts out of his shirt like he is like Hulk Hogan. It was just a bit much. And the Haunter's mark starts to grow. And we just see it, like, basically grow over his entire body. So now you get that they have everything they need to go find the cure. They've got the map, they've got the headstone, they've got the sword, they've got their witch. And so you get, you know, even from the previews that they showed for next week, that they're going to be going off to actually find the cure. So overall, I really liked this episode, and I'm really excited about next week to see about them finding the cure and what happens with that, and Silas, if that happens. But I want to say a few things about this episode. One, I miss Caroline and Tyler. Where are they, and can they come back soon, please? Now, I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but the big news as well for the past couple of weeks is that there is going to be a spin-off from the Vampire Diaries that's going to involve originals. So I know at least Klaus will be in this show, and oh, please let Elijah be in the show. My favorite original. Where are you, Elijah? Where are you? But that's big news, and I'm super excited about that. So, and also Haley. Remember evil Haley, like werewolf girl? From what I hear, she's going to be going to this new show as well. So that makes me wonder if this whole storyline with the originals as well is kind of leading into that new show. I haven't heard much more about it other than it's the originals, and I know it takes place in New Orleans, so I'm excited about that. Okay guys, that is it for this episode of Watch with Poppy. I will see you guys again soon. Bye.